Good evening. Ira Epstein with your financial market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for Wednesday, the 4th of December, 2024, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. All right, my friends, when I'm looking at what these markets are doing, interesting time. Number one, I can tell you, I've been telling my clients that I have long if they followed my recommendations in my subscriber service, and I don't manage money, so I don't know if they did it or didn't do it. But if they did, I'm now telling them it's time to cut those positions down. I didn't say come out. Cut down. We don't know what the jobs report's going to be. Now, in looking at Fed Chair Powell's interview today with Andrew Sorkin from CNBC, and it was for the New York Times, I walk away from one word that the Fed Chair used to describe the U.S. economy, quote unquote, remarkable. And that to me says everything. So what the Fed is going to do is the Fed's going to have the markets back. What it's going to do is if the market drops, the Fed is there to save the market. If the market does, and I say drops because not the market is dropping, because the economy is softened up more than they thought, blah, blah, blah. That's how the market reacts. On the other hand, because it's so remarkably strong, the Fed's setting you up that they might go into pauses now. And they're there to do what they have to do to cushion the softness in the market when it requires it. But without it, it doesn't mean that interest rates have to soar. What it means is they have to stay restrictive a bit longer. History says that as long as they've been this restrictive, the economy should be weakening more. But I'm going to repeat what his word was, and I'm reading a lot into that. Remarkably. Remarkably strong? Well, that's telling you what the Fed thinks. The head of it, that's what he's thinking. I don't know that that leans then into the idea that you have to have the December cut. And I realize the market is saying almost 3/4. 75% near probability that they will do that. Okay, I want to see the report. And as you can imagine, if the report's super weak on Friday, the jobs report, well, why wouldn't the Fed have the markets back? It can then do its cut. If it's real strong, the Fed's in the wings waiting to do it, why can't the market just continue on? That's the dilemma that I think you're facing. Here's another dilemma you have. My cyber sale ends this Friday. So to take advantage, you go to iraepstein.com, any one-year subscription to any of my research or combinations of them, 50 off. Now, when you go to the site, you'll see now on the top left, it says cyber sale right there. Give it a click. It takes you in. Be sure you take that toggle switch. You'll see we set everything on monthly subscriptions. Yearly, just take the toggle, move it over. You'll see what the normal price is. And then when you put that into your cart to purchase, or cart, numerous ones of these, that's where you'll see the 50% show up, okay? iraepstein.com. You only have hours left if you think about it now. So this is not a price you're going to get at Christmas. So if you're waiting to see what I'll do for a Christmas thing, it won't be this good. This is the deep discount, okay? All right. So let's talk about the news that we're going to get now in the marketplace too. In the morning, we get the Challenger Group. Now, they come out with planned, this is the key word, planned job cuts for the corporations, and that comes out at 6:30 a.m. Then we're going to get weekly jobless claims at 7:30. You know they've been running about 215. I think the new number now, we'll see what it comes out with, but in that general range, 200,000. It could be lower. I want to see how the market reacts. The October trade balance, well, doesn't matter. All we get are deficits. And we're to get the EIA natural gas storage. Now, it was interesting because I woke up this morning and I'm reading a report in one of the big newswire services where an analyst came out and not crude, but natural gas going to $4 now. That's how I read it, at least, because of the cold weather. I don't think he understands how this works. You're through injecting in the market. Now you have to prove that you have enough demand to take out the big build that you have in order to support prices. Yes, we have a cold blast, but this is the beginning of December. We're at the 4th. You have to continue it on. Normally, that's all I can tell you. I'm a student of seasonality. Normally you break from right now through December. And could that mean new all-time lows? It could. How big are the supplies? 6-year high. Not a low, a 6-year high, and a lot more production is going to come on with our good friend Donald Trump, because he's going to rescind with one stroke of the presidential order all the restraints that President Biden put in on natural gas. I'm looking for pipelines and a lot more to happen. So in the stock market, the only thing you have to be careful of is that I look at it as a student of the Santa Claus rally. Ho, 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 ho. So as I look at that and I see the reindeers and everything, you normally, and I'm going to use the word normally, don't just start off December and keep going. You get a bump and then you pull back and then you get going about mid-month. That's the safest spot that history shows. Does that mean you have to break? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just showing you what history does. In the metal markets, sort of drifting through here, I'm looking at the currency markets tonight, and I find it fascinating. You saw the government of France fell today. So Macron has to pick a new prime minister, whatever he's going to do, or bring back the old one, see if he can get Parliament to pass anything, to pay bills. It's going to be called a caretaker government. He can't call new elections until July. He did it already. He did his snap election. Is this his fault? Probably in part. I don't think he expected this to happen. I think in South Korea, you look for an impeachment proceeding and that guy to go out. He's got a lot of baggage. I don't think that he will last. I don't think he'll last a month. I think he'll be out quicker than people think. But not France. Now, the fact that you're not breaking in the euro, there's a lot of smart people out there. Why aren't you breaking is the first thing that I'm wondering, period. As we take a look at bonds and notes, I would expect they're just going to do this now right in front of the jobs report. So as we look at the S&P, again, it's like a constant event. You keep making higher all-time highs, and on a closing basis, and this is a chart of closes only, if you were to finish here, you'd have another new all-time high. As I told you yesterday, we keep going up, but look at how the ranges have narrowed in. Not a lot of volatility here, a little bit of danger coming up, and you'll ask me why, and I'll show you. Higher lows, higher highs, certainly bullish. Market staying well over the 18-day average, another bullish event. But the Bollinger Band's right here, and you're now attacking that. And at the same time, you're embedded. I can make an argument that the market can afford to break. As long as the red line doesn't close under 79, you can afford to get a break in this market. Could even go back towards the 6,000 level, as long as you don't lose the embedded reading. Now, that'd be 100 points. The odds are you would lose it, but certainly the 60, 40s, and 50s you could deal with. NASDAQ, you're up to the upper Bollinger Band. So if you were in S&P, if you're in the NASDAQ, a guy like me is going to be telling you QQQ, SPY. If you're up to those bands, you lighten positions up. And I know you'll say, oh, I'm staying because the jobs doesn't matter. We're getting that Santa Claus rally. I get it. Overbought with it. Dow. I told people today to take something off the table. Why? I didn't know what was going to be with Fed Chair Powell. I realized I got 48 hours left, but what's wrong with holding part of a position? Nothing. Now, if the market falls, use a break-even stop on what's remaining. You're not out. You're on the market's money. If it just keeps going, you're in the play. Then we look at the Russell. I'm sorry, the Russell's been the weak link of this market. Not embedded, overbought, came down in. And yes, it did hold today the lower 18-day average under the market, and that's where I'd expect it to fight a battle. I'm not bearish the chart because as long as you're over the 18-day average, you have a bullish bias. But I certainly, this is not, to me, where traders invest new money. When a market's overbought, that's not how I read it. When I take a look at the notes, you're trying to develop the embedded reading. Now, you cannot count Thursday night, which is today. You got to go to Wednesday if it'll let me. You know, I know it's because it's the new, I can't get that far back. I was trying to figure out if this was my unit yesterday, and you know, when I do this, you got to think on your feet. There's not enough data to go that far back. I got the same in here. You're not embedded. This is all new that we've got. These are the March contracts, and they only list them a certain period of time. Can the dollar do something here? Yeah. If you take out 106.06 and a half, you can get an all-out sell signal short term and for here, but when it reopens, if it's steady, it's probably going to be oversold. Oversold. Do you deploy new money in that? I don't think a lot of pros do. That doesn't mean the chart pattern's not bearish. I'm just giving you my example of it. In the euro, here's what I keep saying. You know, I keep hearing from people, oh, when France goes down, and they did, the government, that's going to be terrible. And I went, why? Why is it terrible? Macron can't get through the new budget. We know that they've got nothing but fiscal problems. But the people aren't overthrowing the government. They're saying they don't like this package. The problem for the people, they're so used to the government there taking care of them. Low work hours, you can't fire people just like that. Oh, no, you can't overwork them. I can go on and on. It's a different culture than in America. I think they're right. I love France. Probably one of my favorite cities in the world, Paris. And how could you not love it if you've been there? So I understand, but they're not falling apart. They have immigration issues. They have social issues. That's what they have to figure out because they got budgetary issues because of those two. But so does every major American city that became a sanctuary city. You don't believe me? Chicago, New York, San Francisco. Want me to go on and on the list? I can do it. Same type of problems. All right, as we look here on the pound, you're getting a short-term rally. Now, I don't think it's going very far because this Bollinger Band's going to keep falling and coming to it. Big-time resistance now at 128.14 to 128.26. The combination of the 200-day average and that, plus you're in overbought territory already. The interesting thing with the rally is Governor Bailey just came out yesterday and said he sees 4 rate cuts next year. Normally, against the strong dollar, that would weaken the currency. Not getting that. Bitcoin, well, this is Mr. Akin's rally right now. He's going to be your new crypto czar, as I want to call it. You're overbought. You're up here. Do you go and make a new high, or you fall back to the 18-day average? That's the big question. But he certainly was welcome, and it was his rally day. When we come to the energy market, remember what I told you yesterday. Don't get caught up with this Chinese meeting. At the end of the day, there's just a lot of crude here. Now, you're going to wake up and hear what OPEC's going to do. We're going to hear from OPEC tomorrow. Reuters came out with the story that they think they're going to say that production cuts are staying in place for the first quarter, not just through January. We'll see. That would be an attempt to shore the market up, because it's not as much supply coming on the market. Yet the market on that news fell back and gave back everything today that it made yesterday. You can see that. It's very clear in all the products here. Heating oil the same. And isn't it cold out there? I mean, Chicago, just to give you an idea, we're going to be like 5-degree wind chill tomorrow, and without it, maybe 11, 12 degrees. Tonight, it's unbelievably brutal because we got big winds. But you're not getting that big rally in nat gas, and I'm going to repeat why. Because you now are used to this, and you wait for this to get the draws. The rallies, the game changes in this month. It's normally sell the rallies, not buy the breaks. If you like what I do here, you like to learn and see what I write nightly, and I write newsletters. They're not pages, all right? I used to get a letter. One of my favorites was Dennis Gartman. And he would write the longest newsletter, and I watched him write, and I knew Dennis very well for years. He used to be on my TV shows. And when he was doing it, I saw he'd copy things. I think he was filling paper. The problem was I'd get away from what I knew he copied from a prior letter, and I'd get into the meat of what he did because he's a great thinker. And yeah, I happen to like him. I think his ideas were good. He was always the guy. I'm long or short gold, basis, this currency and that. And people didn't understand what he was doing, but I did. And it's not hard to figure out. In any case, maybe you like the way I do it. It's all bullets, few paragraphs. I point you in an area, and I try to make a point for you. I want your time for 2 to 3 minutes and then move on. This is where you're at. The charts, by the way, do the talking. My morning videos super important with what we do. And that's where I get to talk for about 15, 20 minutes and tell you buy here, sell there. And I'm going to be wrong. If you're looking for a guy walking on water, don't sign up. I'm not him. 50% off, heck of a deal. You won't get that again this year, and it won't be there for Christmas. So please take advantage. IraEpstein.com. Go up to the top left. You'll see the sale area. Give it a click and take it from there. I'm Ira. You have a great day.